time to clean that tool belt out. It was definitely well and truly overloaded. So look guys, I thought it'd be a good opportunity for me to put together a bit of a what's in my belt video. I did do one of these in the past, and that was basically when I was a first year. So it's going to be a good little comparison to see what I had back in the first year compared to what I carry now in third year. So today I'm going to go through in a bit more detail as to why I've got those particular items on my tool belt, because it does seem like a lot, but with the work and variety of work and stuff that we do as the company with MB Construction, it's handy to have the gear that I have on the tool belt. And like anything, any tool belt setup, you're always reliant on the work that you do. So you always adapt your belt to suit the work that you're doing at the time, okay? Righto guys, time to fill up the tool belt. So, key items, all right? So I'm gonna go through the KRA system like I spoke about before in the past, many moons ago, and just to help you guys understand what to put in your tool belt, okay? Key items are things that you need, are a must have for your trade, all right? Things that you must have for your trade. So things that you rely on to get jobs done, and if you don't have, you look like a muppet, all right? One, hammer, all right? This is an east swing hammer. This is for carpentry guys, so please understand this. Hammers obviously vary in varying weights and sizes and things like that. This is a 26 ounce, I think, from memory, east swing. And yes, it has been with me for since my first year and stuff, obviously. So next, most important thing as a carpenter, and probably most trades, is a tape, all right? I normally go roll with a Fatmax 8 meter. That's pretty standard for me. That's just my tool belt all the time. I've actually got about 3 of these now. So what happens is normally you get rust and stuff inside these tapes, just from working on roofs and wet areas and stuff like that from morning dew. And if you forget to wipe them down and keep them clean, they rust out. So yeah, normally you have your old scabby tapes for, you know, doing fencing or dirt work or whatever, or forming up, and you have your good tapes for when you're inside, all right? So tape. Next little key item I want to talk about is something to mark with. So 9 times out of 10, most guys normally roll with a carpenter's pencil, okay? To me, that's an auxiliary. I do have carpenter's pencils, but I roll with pikas. Don't talk to me about this. I'm very sad about it. I've lost it. I don't know where it's gone. Sad face. I am buying another one because they're bloody legendary. So that's the bigger Pika Dry, okay? Not the huge Carpenter Styles one. That's the other one. That's the bigger one. And this is my new go-to of the Pika Fines, the dry fines. Absolutely fantastic little pencil. It's like a little pacer, you know, like your pacers back at school when you used to have them. So you've always got that fine point on it. So I normally roll with those basically the bigger one and the smaller one. Bigger one for doing framing or rough work, and the smaller one for doing all your finer trim work or marking timbers and stuff like that. So next up is the triangle, okay? The speed square, also known as. So I roll with the aluminium one. I roll with the etched speed squares. I've had a plastic one before. It was an Empire one from memory as well, blue one. Dropped it once and it broke on me and it was absolutely no good. So I've gone to the alley one, and I went hunting around and I found an etched alley one. Prefer the etched ones. It's personal preference, of course. So speed square. Speaking of measuring and keeping an eye on things, this is something that has really changed for me. So I did have a blue ruler, a meter rule. Okay, it was quite a large ruler, and I kept that on my tool belt and stuff. And then I got into these bad boys. So these are the good rule. These rulers are fantastic, and yeah, I get a lot of use out of these things. So I might even do a as I see it on this one day. I know it's only a little item, but I think it's definitely worthwhile having a chat about. All right, so ruler, something that sits behind my ruler, and a must-have, I think, as well as a chippy, or most tradies probably, to be honest, is a Stanley knife. I do prefer this Stanley Fatmax I've had for quite some time. But yeah, this is good because obviously you've got room for your blades. Spare blades are in there already. It's a one-piece item. There are a lot of other knives out there though, guys. So yeah, it's up to you for personal preference. But yeah, I prefer the Fatmax at the moment. It's doing well for me. I've mentioned this before, and it's earmuffs. Now these earmuffs are a must-have. I feel you need to have some form of ear protection on you. Whether it's little earbuds and stuff in a small packet sitting in your pouch somewhere, because you'll always get caught out, not only by guys around you that work with you, but guys that are subbies and stuff like that, who are just on the job site doing their job and don't realize you're even there sometimes, and they just hit up a hammer drill or a grinder or something like that. And But yeah, earmuffs are always on me. There's no doubt about that. I prefer these ones with a little strap on top, mainly because I can put a hat on as well. So it's personal preference again. And last but not least on my key items is the impact driver. Now this is your go-to, especially as a chippy. These are pretty much a very, very common tool. I think Sparkies use them a fair bit as well with the work that they do too. So if you don't have an impact driver, it is something that I suggest you get, especially early on in the piece as an apprentice, because you will notice not having one can limit some of the tasks and stuff that you can be doing. Right, so yeah, as you guys all know, I'm a 40 volt fiend. So this is my 40 volt impact driver. Yeah, that's the impact driver. Alright guys, now it is time for those relatable items. If you've got a key item that needs accessories and stuff, or needs something that helps it get better, or something to undo it if something goes wrong, okay, they're your relatable items. They relate to the key item. So firstly, I have a pinch bar or crowbar or whatever you want to call them, okay, cat's paws, they're also known as, I suppose, jimmy bar. Some guys just use chisels, but I prefer this one. This bar is very, very handy. It's got the leverage, it's got the curve on it to help with leverage. Helps with, you know, putting plasterboard sheets up, that sort of stuff. You know, you can get it underneath and you can just stand on it and lifts it up for you to make that joint nice and tight. Yeah, that's my preference and go-to for a little demo bar. The other thing you hit with hammers, all right, is your punches, all right? So I normally roll with a couple of different size punches. I go something quite small and big, and then I actually go with a center punch as well. Sometimes the claw of the hammer isn't enough, therefore, you know, your pinches are the way to go. All right, I use a long handle pair. You get plenty of leverage on them, and I find them quite comfortable to use. Good for fencing, good for all sorts of stuff. If you're trying to do tiling, which is what we've done before as well. Very handy little tools to have. Great for nails, great for screws, and yeah, even great for grabbing sheets and stuff and pulling things if you need to for doing demo. So yeah. Now, the next relatable relates to the impact driver, and there's quite a few impact driver bits that I carry on board and on hand. Basically, again, it's all dependent on the job that you do as to what you carry. Let's go through them quickly. DeWalt right angle bit. Hex heads, all right, for your roof and screws, all right, large and small. So what is it? It's 3/8 and 5/16. Relatable to roofing. 1/8 bit, rivet bit, whatever you want to call it, all right? Snappy bit. Square drive, it's handy. Bat and screw bit, I don't need to go into that one too much, but these are a very, very common bit to have sitting on your tool belt. I've actually got 2 types of these. And the trusty old Phillips head. Normally I try and carry at least 2 of these on me, because sometimes they do snap and break, and then you're left run into your van to try and get something to finish off a door or something. This may be a bit crazy, but I do keep a step drill on me. It's have come in handy multiple times. Driver extension, all right, whenever you might need that extra little bit of extension or narrowness to your bit. And then I'm going to go through these ones. I've actually got these on a little clip. Now I don't know, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen these around. These are those quick clips and stuff. It works quite well. I think the biggest trick is making sure you pull it so it locks in, because if you don't, it can fall out and you end up losing bits, which you have had before. So on this one, I have a Gyprock Phillips head. Again, I've got your roofing hex head screws again. So you've got your 5/16 and your 3/8 long shank. Batten screw, second one again as well, long shank. Phillips head, long shank. Good for hinges and doors and that sort of stuff as well. Get past door handles. And last but not least, with my relatable items, relates to the pencils that I have. It's a rubber or a razor, whatever you want to call it. It's a mistake remover. I have seen guys use their tape measures to rub things out, but yeah, I prefer to actually have the rubber on there. I have that on board. Now this one I throw a zippy tie through for ease of access. So let me just show you. It's down in here like this, and it means I can pull the rubber out quite easily. Righto guys, so that's it for the relatable items. So let's have a little chat about some auxiliaries and some accessory items that can be handy to have on your tool belt, especially as a chippy. A sliding compound square, all right? Definitely if you want to try and do if you're doing your quirks and stuff on your doors, or you're trying to find center a door, as my little video showed the other day, very handy little tool to have. Blue chalk line, I just keep the blue one on me, all right? I don't have a black one or anything, I probably should. We don't do a lot of framework and stuff in the sense of setting out on a slab. So yeah, blue chalky seems to do nicely. A couple of extra marking tools. I've got a pencil, a carpenter's pencil, like I mentioned before, and a Nico. 2 other oddball ones, but probably a lot of people might find a bit strange, but I actually do keep 2 screwdrivers on hand. I am probably going to drop some of these one day, but at this stage, I still get asked for them by the other guys, and yeah, I do find myself using them too every now and then. Personal preference, but a small shifter. This is only a little 200 milli, little 8-inch one, not very big. Small shifter in the tool belt. Great for the snappy bit on the impact driver, so changing out the 1/8 bits. Great for weathering sheets as well. So yes, definitely a little tool handy to have. I mentioned I had a 4th magnet on my tool belt before, and this is the 4th one. The 4th one is just a little round magnet loosely held on its own. And I do like to try and keep a couple of little Allen keys and a little adjuster as well, mainly for door handles and stuff to make life easy that they're on hand. Keeping with the magnet theme, it's the other holstery clip that I was telling you about. I normally just have that sitting in my pouch to be used for whatever reason I feel fit. And last but not least, certainly not least, all right, is a digital measurer. Now I've actually pinched the pouch off an old CPI one, but I actually roll it with a little Bosch. Great little measuring tool, very handy for those longer distances and stuff where you haven't got someone to help you hold the tape. Good for awkward situations where you're trying to get a point from A to B and you've got flush points and stuff to work with. Very handy to have. It's something I keep in my tool belt and yeah, use on a regular basis. Righto guys, so that is my loadout. That's what I roll with. It does seem a bit excessive, I'm sure, to some guys, but for people who are in sort of building maintenance and stuff like I am with commercial and residential and a mixed bag of lollies, this setup's actually fairly comfortable and it'll give you a lot of variety and options. Righto guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. It has been an absolute blast going through my tool belt. I noticed some things have changed in the time that I've gone from 1st year to 3rd year. I definitely do have a bit more of an understanding of what I need for tools. That's the biggest thing. And that just comes from experience, pure experience. So if you're out there as an apprentice and you're not sure what to carry, ask your tradesman, hit them up, find out what's going on, have a suss of what the job is, and know the tools that make your job a bit easier. And remember, it's not always just about making your job easier, it's about making the job easier of the people around you. It's all about trying to diversify what people carry on site. So sometimes there's no point in every man and his dog having the same tools on the tool belt. That's it for me today. Build on legends. You have a cracker of a week or weekend. Until next time we chat again, I'm going to do some more work on the van. I've still got all the carport stuff and that to do, which will happen through the week for the boys. The fence is delayed again, which I'm extremely disappointed about. But yeah, I got to get stuck in. These boys are getting a bit antsy. All right, guys. Take care, eh? Love yous all. Bye.